Hello, I'm Nick Geyser, the Chief of the Biloxi Fire Department. Hurricane season is from June to November of each year, and the City of Biloxi wants to help you prepare your family and property for storms and flooding. Are You Ready is the city's outreach program to help you get ready for storm season by bringing together important information on storm preparation. In this program, we will educate and remind residents about the precautions they should take before, during, and after a storm. Whether you're a new or a longtime resident, this is news you can use.
It's that time of year again, the time of year when we ask the question, are you ready for hurricane season? Hi, I'm Jerry Creel, Community Development Director for Biloxi, reminding you that hurricane season will begin on June 1st. And now is the time to complete your pre-storm checklist. Now is the time to buy flood insurance. Remember that it takes 30 days for a flood insurance policy to become effective, and policies will not be approved once a storm enters the Gulf. Keep all your important documents in a secure place. Before the storm, residents should check their property for items that can become flying debris and make sure it's all secured. Be sure to check ditches and gutters for obstructions and trim away low-hanging limbs from your house. Businesses should review and follow their hurricane preparedness plan. After the storm, make sure that the water has subsided before re-entering your home or structure. Check for any visible signs of damage. You are allowed to immediately remove wet carpet, sheetrock, and the contents of your home, but be sure to pull a building permit before making any repairs. Check with our office to make sure that all contractors are licensed, and never give a contractor money in advance. And if you have any questions, please contact our floodplain administrator. Let's work together to make sure that we're ready for hurricane season this year. Thank you and have a great day.
Hello, my name is Joseph Bates, Battalion Chief of the Biloxi Fire Department. We want you to be prepared early by acquiring some basic supplies to help you be ready if a storm enters the Gulf. Now is the time to make sure you have the following supplies. Water, enough to supply at least one person 1 gallon a day for several days. Food, at least a several-day supply of non-perishable food. A battery-powered or hand-crank radio and a NOAA weather radio with tone alert. Flashlight with batteries, a first aid kit, extra batteries, a whistle, this is to signal for help if needed, plastic sheeting and duct tape to use to shelter in place, moist towelettes, garbage bags, and plastic ties for personal sanitation, wrench or pliers, a manual can opener, cell phone and chargers with a backup battery, prescription medications, other non-prescription medications, eyeglasses and contact lens solution, infant formula, bottles, diapers, wipes, and diaper rash cream if you have youngsters, pet food and extra water for each of your pets, cash or traveler's checks in case ATMs are inoperable or you need to evacuate quickly, important family documents such as birth certificates, social security cards, copies of insurance policies, identification, and bank account records are saved electronically. These need to be kept in a waterproof container. Sleeping bags or warm blankets, change of wardrobe, fire extinguisher, matches in waterproof container, feminine and personal hygiene supplies, disposable eating utensils, and fuel for generators as well as vehicles fueled up. There are several other items that you and your family should sit down and discuss as they may be needed according to your needs. It is vital to pre-plan and have these items in place before a storm. Make sure to include updated pictures in your kits of your home, along with an inventory of your home in case of severe or catastrophic damage. Also, it is wise to have your storm kits stored in a safe, dry area that you can check periodically to replace any items that may go bad over time, such as batteries, medication, formula, and items of that nature. Please be prepared before a storm threatens the coast.
Hello, I am Christopher Beless, Fire Mechanic Supervisor with the Biloxi Fire Department. Your vehicle is a very important tool to have. I want to give you some tips to help you make sure your vehicle is prepared when a storm threatens Biloxi and the Gulf Coast. Here are some things that you should do or have done before encountering bad weather. You can put together a checklist. This list should incorporate the following. Check your tires, including your spare. Make sure you have a tire changing kit. Replace worn wiper blades. Check your lights, including emergency flashers. Maintain proper fluid levels such as engine, transmission, brakes, and coolant. Top off your fuel tank. Keep your battery in good shape and check it for loose wires or corrosion. Any problem doing these checks should be found in your owner's manual. Here are some things to keep in your vehicle: jumper cables, fire extinguisher, reflective hazard markers, bottled water, also a go bag containing flashlights, change of clothes, and a small amount of cash. Vehicles are the least desirable place to be stuck when bad weather is in your area. So please prepare your vehicle now so that it will be a safe vehicle for traveling before and after a storm.
Now, let's discuss some key tips for keeping your pets safe during a disaster. In an emergency, your pets will be even more dependent on you for their safety and well-being. Most shelters do not accept animals, so you will need to make an evacuation plan that includes your pets. Remember, if it's not safe for you to stay in your home during an emergency, it's not safe for them either. Knowing in advance which lodging along your evacuation route accepts pets in an emergency is key. Call ahead for reservations and ask if no pet policy can be waived in an emergency. Know in advance which friends, relatives, boarding facilities, animal shelters, or veterinarians can care for your animal in an emergency. Prepare a list now with phone numbers and addresses. Include your pets in family evacuation drills so they become used to traveling calmly. Now is the time for making sure that your pet vaccinations are up to date. Hotels and any shelters that do allow pets will require proof of vaccinations. Make sure ID badges are current and that they are securely fastened to their collars in case of your separation. Have your pet microchipped. Microchipping gives you the best chance of reuniting with your pet if they happen to get lost. This can be done at the Humane Society of South Mississippi, Spay Neuter Impact Project, or your local veterinarian. You will also need to assemble any emergency kit for your pets. This kit should include sturdy leashes, harnesses, and/or carriers to transport pets safely and securely, food, drinking water, bowls, cat litter, and pan. Remember to add a can opener if needed. Medications and medical records, including most recent vaccinations. Current photos of you with your pets. This will help identify them and you as the owner. Their favorite toy to help them stay calm. The best way to protect your household from the effects of a disaster is to have a disaster plan. That plan must include your pets. Your preparedness will save their lives.
Hello, I'm Michael Strickland, Captain of the Marine Patrol Division with the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. I'd like to take a few minutes to remind the residents of Mississippi of the importance of preparing your vessels for the upcoming hurricane season. Preparation is the key, so be sure to have a plan in place. First, file a float plan. An example of the information contained in the float plan can be located on our website at www.dmr.ms.gov. It is not necessary to file the float plan with our agency, but it is a great tool to distribute to family and friends. Don't wait until the last minute to start your relocation plans. Start early and allow yourself ample time to accomplish your goals. Make sure your vessel is seaworthy, operational, and is equipped with the required safety items. When transiting to your intended safe harbor location, be aware of your surroundings and the wake your vessel may cause. Many of the safe harbor locations are in shallow, narrow waterways surrounded by private property. So please be aware of your speed and the wake your vessel causes as to not damage personal property. Storm or no storm, as the vessel captain, you are responsible for your wake and the damage it may cause. Be aware of the water hazards, especially after the storm when debris will be more prevalent. When securing your vessel, please ensure that you are not anchoring or mooring your vessel in a marked navigational channel. Obstructing a navigational channel is a violation, and you could be cited and face possible fines. Also, consider your vessel's size for proper mooring to ensure that it does not come loose during the storm or its surge. If you'll be utilizing a generator on your vessel, please ensure you have adequate ventilation to prevent the accumulation of carbon monoxide gases. Carbon monoxide is a colorless and odorless gas that can lead to serious tissue damage and possible death. If you'll be storing excess fuel on your vessel, please ensure that the storage canisters are secured properly as to not be introduced into the environment. This could result in short and long-term damage to Mississippi's natural resources. It is also important to remember that the Office of Marine Patrol must suspend operations once the sustained wind speeds reach 45 miles per hour. Wind speeds must subside to less than 45 miles per hour before Marine Patrol can resume emergency responses. Lastly, know the limitations of you and your vessel. Please do not underestimate the dangers associated with a named storm. Be safe, start planning now, and thank you.
Hello, I'm Chuck Parker, Special Operations and Logistics Manager of the Biloxi Fire Department. I'd like to talk to you about storm surges, flood dangers, and what to do during a storm. Storm surge is a threat we deal with because of living along the Gulf Coast. Here's some important information. Over half of the nation's economic productivity is located within the coastal zones. 72% of ports, 27% of major roads, and 9% of rail lines within the Gulf Coast region are at or below 4 feet of elevation. A storm surge of 23 feet has the ability to flood 67% of our interstates, 57% of intersecting roads, nearly half of rail lines, and 29 airports, and practically all ports in the Gulf Coast area. The very wide and shallow continental shelf of the Gulf of Mexico makes the northern coastal shoreline susceptible to very large storm surges. So remember to run from the water and hide from the wind. Flooding is also a threat we experience. Here are some tips to keep in mind at the onset of a flooding event. Determine if you live in a flood-prone area and research its flood history. Monitor the weather for storm information. Collect potable water in case water becomes contaminated. Pre-assemble emergency supplies, and if asked to evacuate, do so. Have a plan for dealing with your pets. Be prepared to shut off power and gas to your home. Avoid walking through floodwaters. Moving water can sweep you off your feet, and once your footing is lost, it's almost impossible to regain it. And do not drive through standing water. Plan alternate routes. 64% of flood fatalities in the United States occur in vehicles. Cars, trucks, and SUVs can easily be swept away in just 2 feet of moving water. 2 feet of water is sufficient to float a vehicle, and 500 pounds of lateral force are applied to a vehicle for each foot that water rises. 6 inches of water causes loss of steering control. 12 to 14 inches of water can sweep a vehicle away. But most importantly, don't take chances with your safety, your family's safety, and the safety of our first responders who must brave the hazards to try to remove you and your loved ones from a situation that has gone from bad to worse. So, are you ready? Be prepared, have a plan, and please, if asked to evacuate, do so.
Hello, my name is Nick Dubasan. I am the Deputy Chief of Training at the Biloxi Fire Department. Today I'd like to discuss some very important safety skills that you should be aware of during a storm threat. First, it is always important to learn first aid and CPR. We at the fire department can be there to help within just a few minutes, but during those few minutes we need your help to provide that life-saving care. There are local Red Cross and American Heart Association classes available. Second, learn to use a fire extinguisher. Have at least one up-to-date fire extinguisher and make sure everyone in your home knows where it is and how to use it. An ABC type extinguisher is recommended. Remember the acronym PASS, which stands for pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep back and forth. Lastly, learn how to shut off utilities. It is important to know how to shut off gas in case of a leak. There are different gas shut-off procedures for various gas meters, so it's important to learn how to shut off yours. Know where to find a water shutoff valve and how to turn it off in case there's a leak. Also, know where the electrical panel is in your home and how to turn off electricity in the event of an emergency. For your cheesy quote of the day, everyone loses when safety snoozes. So please keep these in mind when preparing for the hurricane season. It's also important to keep these safety skills in mind year-round. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Robert Smith, an engineer for the City of Biloxi. After a disaster event, residents typically have vegetative debris in their yard. It could be downed trees and limbs or even washed up seagrasses depending on how high the water rose. Homes can be damaged due to falling trees or high winds, or even could have suffered water damage from roof damage or rising water. Rising waters that get into homes damages furniture and appliances. So what should we do with all of this debris after a storm? After you have taken pictures and documented your damage, you can start moving the debris to the street for removal by the city and its contractors. The city is not allowed to enter private property to pick up debris, so residents are required to get the debris to the side of the street. All debris placed at the street has to be sorted into separate piles because different type of debris have to be disposed of at different landfills. Residents will need to make 5 debris piles. Electronic appliances, also called white goods, hazardous materials such as paint, oil, and chemicals. Vegetative materials should be cut into 4-foot lengths. And finally, construction materials such as shingles, tiles, carpet, and wood. When making these separate piles, there are a few things to remember. Don't pile debris on vacant lots. The city or their contractors are not allowed to pick up debris from vacant lots. Second, make sure that your debris piles are far enough apart so they can be picked up without disturbing your other piles. Make sure the piles are close to the street as possible, but not too close so equipment can reach them. And last, make sure that your piles are at least 5 feet from hydrants, mailboxes, fences, power poles, and guide wires, and other obstructions. If these guidelines aren't followed, the city may not be able to pick up the debris. Following these pointers will help the city get the debris removed as quickly as possible. You may be wondering, how long is this going to take for the city to remove the debris? As soon as it's safe to drive after the storm, the city starts to push debris out of city streets and starts to assess how much debris is present. Depending on the volume of the debris, the city will either pick up the debris or will bring in the debris removal contractor. This typically starts within a week. The city encourages residents to get their debris to the right-of-way as soon as possible, but we know this does take time. How long it takes for all the debris to be removed really depends on how much debris is present. When there is not a lot of debris present, the city typically can make one pass through the entire city in 2 weeks. The city does a minimum of 3 complete passes through the city to make sure all debris is removed. Before making the last pass, the city will publicize that information so residents know ahead of time. We try to stay in constant contact with the residents throughout this process. If you have any questions or concerns now or during the debris removal process, residents are always welcome to call the City Engineering Department at 228-435-6269. Residents can also visit FEMA.gov or MEMA.gov for additional information on debris removal. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this program. Please make sure you are prepared. Monitor various weather broadcasts and media outlets during hurricane season and throughout the year. And don't forget to sign up for timely text alerts from the City of Biloxi through its B-Alert system. Just text BILOXI to 99411. You can also follow the City of Biloxi on Facebook and also can visit online at biloxi.ms.us and click on the Storm and Flood Preparedness tab for more information so you are ready for a storm. Again, thank you, and please make sure you are prepared.